Hey everyone, it's Joseph for Zenny62. So this is actually my second video that I'm doing. The other one I didn't upload because it was long and I was angry. And I didn't want it to come off as this angry commentator. Because what I have to say are legitimate truths and legitimate facts. And if I present it to you in such a hostile way, it takes away the effect of what I'm trying to tell you. So, the main reason I believe that Donald Trump, weeks ago, if not months ago, started a campaign of false allegations with regards to our electoral process and the absentee voting process, the absentee ballots, is because he knew, as well as his campaign managers and his campaign staff, that the overwhelming majority of people who believe that COVID-19 is a real virus and can be a deadly virus will vote through mail or drop off an absentee ballot in their in the boxes that are provided by across the country by many registered recorders offices, or people will hand them over directly to the registered recorder's office in each county, state, across the country. And it so happens to be that an overwhelming majority of those people were probably Democrats. Donald Trump was encouraging all his supporters to do it in person, not to do it by absentee ballot or mail. He thought that was an advantage by discouraging his voters not to do it by absentee ballot or mail. It turns out that backfired with him, because the Democrats and people that were afraid to catch the virus organized themselves locally but nationally to vote absentee ballot and vote by mail. Now, we know across the country that the mail service was handed over to Donald Trump's donors. One of his large, rich donors, Donald Trump, made him the head of the Postal Service. Ironically, when that happened, if you started noticing all your mail started getting delayed, packages weren't being delivered on time, and the process in which mail was handled, scanned, and delivered all changed. And that's weird that all happened prior to the absentee ballots being mailed to you as voters. And so that's when this false campaign of degrading the Postal Service and degrading our electoral process. Now keep in mind, that's the same electoral process that made him president in 2016. He didn't have a problem with the electoral process in 2016. He has a problem now because he's losing. And if the president wanted to correct things, like he says, I'm going to fix this, I'm going to fix that, he's done nothing. And if he wanted to fix something, he had 4 years to clean up the electoral process and do something about an electoral process that was fraudulent. The fact is, it is not fraudulent. This is the same electoral process that elected him in 2016. But again, because he's losing and he can't accept defeat, he has to make these false accusations. He sends out all his minions, who are his heavily priced attorneys that you as a taxpayer supposedly are paying for. And you have his new mouthpiece, Rudy Giuliani, screaming and ranting, making himself look like a lunatic, making these false accusations, waving 8x10 sheets of paper, like if that's a legitimate case, just because you're waving paper, that justifies any of your false accusations? No. The fact of the matter is that he started calling out the states that he knew he was going to lose, because now he's going to try to sue those states and claim all those votes invalid. He's going to start claiming that all of those absentee ballots that were sent through the mail invalid, although they're postmarked, they're legitimate and they're legal. So, majority of Trump supporters that I know, let me reiterate that. The majority of those Trump supporters did not vote absentee ballot and did not mail in their votes. There were some that did. I know a couple that did. because those are sick individuals that didn't want to go out. The overwhelming majority of Trump supporters don't like to wear masks. There are some that do, but the majority of them don't. The fact that the Trump administration politicized this is actually working in Joe Biden's favor, because the overwhelming majority of Democrats believe that this virus is real. The overwhelming majority of them wore their face masks, and the overwhelming majority of them voted by mail and absentee ballot. And that's why all of a sudden these absentee ballots are called into question, and that's why Donald Trump and the states, and only the states that he's losing, are calling those absentee ballots illegitimate. Those absentee ballots in Florida were all legitimate because he won that state. It's as simple as that. And I'm calling out all those media outlets in 2016, that night and early that morning of that Wednesday of 2016, you had gave the presidency to Donald Trump. You are frightened. You're intimidated by a dictatorial action of Twitter responses. You're afraid of Donald Trump. You should be ashamed of yourself. The only outlet that I see was an individual on MSNBC, and that's Joe Scarborough, up to now, that already made those same claims. He made and reiterated some of the words that I used, and I'm going to use it only once. He said it was a cowardly act. I reiterated that hours before he made that comment on Twitter, because you're using his intimidation to sway your decision and calling it. Keep it here on Zenny62, and don't forget to like and subscribe.